My guest is Dr. Jerry Oates. Dr. Oates, welcome to our program.
Thank you.
Most folks know that you're our Superintendent of Schools and have a great story to tell.
I do. I've been on the job since November.
Right.
And I've enjoyed every moment of it thus far and plan to continue to enjoy it.
Well, let's take a second and talk about your background.
Okay.
You're very much a Brunswick County now, but you spent almost 20 years in New Hanover County.
Correct. I started my educational career back in my hometown of Duplin County.
Okay.
Faison, North Carolina, and I attended UNCW for my undergrad and went back home and taught a year at James Keenan High School in Warsaw.
What did you teach?
I taught social studies,
Okay.
U.S. history, AP U.S. history, and world history.
You're a historian of sorts.
I love history.
Great.
Spent a year there, and then I moved back to the Wilmington area and was teaching at John T. Hoggett High School for 3 years. And after I taught there, I was named assistant principal at New Hanover High School. And I served there for 4 and became the principal of the former Lakeside High School, which was the alternative school in New Hanover County.
Right.
And after serving there for about 6 years, we started the Mary S. Mosley Performance Learning Center, which was not a behavioral alternative, but it gave students an opportunity who just did not fit well into the traditional setting of high school. And we were able to provide them with an opportunity to graduate in a non-traditional means by using a lot of computer-based learning and project-based learning. So served there for, I think, 4 years, and then my last principalship was at Williston Middle School in Wilmington before coming to Brunswick
And then you
County.
came here
Then
as an assistant.
Actually, I came here as the Executive Director of Human Resources.
Okay. All right.
So I started in Brunswick County in Human Resources, and after a year and a half working with Colonel Les Tubb,
Right.
I was named the Associate Superintendent, working directly under him and working with him. And upon his retirement in October of last year, I became the Superintendent of Brunswick County Schools.
Well, it's a great story. It's a great story of success.
I've enjoyed it.
I know you
I've
have.
been blessed.
Let's talk about what a typical day is like for you,
Well,
if there is one.
Well, there is. A typical day would simply start with me getting here in the office, and I take some time to myself to try to just collect my thoughts, have just some devotional time and about 15, 20 minutes and just get my day started. Check my calendar, go through any pressing emails that I may have, and that's
Sure.
usually by 7:30, 8 o'clock. What I try to do daily is to get out of the office, go by my staff members' offices, just check in on them, get any updates that they may have, and then I try to get into schools. What I like to do is spend the majority of my day in our schools,
Great.
in our classrooms, not just going to the school and sitting in the principal's office, but actually going into classrooms, having conversations with kids, having conversations with teachers, and seeing if there are any needs that we can address that they may have.
Your phone never rings and you don't get texts, right?
It's, oh, yeah, right. That phone, it stays busy. It's text messages come through, alerts come through, reminders come through of where I'm supposed to be and that type of thing. But
I find in my work that if I don't have anything on my calendar that day, I have a cup of coffee, phone starts to ring, people start walking in the door, and game is on.
That's how it works here. Even if my calendar, is so-called empty, if my door is open,
Sure.
I like for folks to come in and have conversations with me, and we can get a lot of things done that way.
Some quick facts and data for our viewers. The number of students here in Brunswick County,
Around 12,600.
the number of schools,
Currently, we're at 19, and we'll soon to be 20 with the addition of Town Creek Middle School.
right. Town Creek Middle School opens soon?
It opens August 2020.
Okay, very helpful. And with the growth in population, perhaps more schools in the years to come.
That is something that we are definitely having serious conversation about now because of the growth that's taking place in the northern part of our county. We really have some needs that we have to address.
Sure.
We have one particular elementary school, Belleville Elementary, has been over capacity for some time. In a school that is built for around 650, 700 kids, we have close to 900 in there now. We have some modular units on campus to accommodate the students, so they aren't without a classroom. But that's not the ideal situation that we want for our students.
Well, our viewers understand the explosive growth of Brunswick County. How about the high schools? Will they remain much the same?
According to our demographic forecast, our high schools will pretty much be leveled off, so to speak. We won't have any overcrowding in our high schools. Right now, West Brunswick is our largest high school, and it's forecast to decrease in size, while North Brunswick is expected to increase in size, but there are classrooms that have been built to accommodate the growth for that school.
Okay. I'm jumping around on you here. Let's talk a little bit about security. It's not easy to provide security on these larger campuses because, in fact, that's what they are. Thanks to Brunswick County Sheriff's Office, you have security individuals. They go by another name. Help me out.
That's correct. School resource officers.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have those in all the schools.
We are really in a rare situation. Not too many of our districts within our state can be able to boast to say that we have a school resource officer in every one of our schools. And in our high schools, we actually have 2.
Okay, good.
When I speak with other superintendents across the district, they're just blown away by the fact that we actually have school resource officers in all our schools. That's just not something that happens on a regular basis. These school resource officers are just invaluable to the operations of our school.
Absolutely.
Not only do they keep our students and our staff safe, but they build relationships with kids.
Important.
And oftentimes the kids are able to come to them and say things that they may not be able to say to the principal or to the teacher, or sometimes even to parents. And we get a lot of information from them through our school resource officers.
Put your long-term hat on. Talk about changes in curriculum in the next 5, 7, 10 years. What do you see?
I see an increase in an emphasis on our career and technical education. CTE is what what we go by. I'll be the first to let you know that not every student has to or needs to go to college in order to be successful.
Absolutely.
And many of our students have skills, inherent skills, that they are able to, that they can use to be successful as they go through our school system. But what we want to do is be able to give them an opportunity to leave our school system prepared for work in order to be able to provide for themselves and their families. So what we have is the COAST, which is the Center of Applied Science and Technology. It's in the building of the former Brunswick County Academy. And there we have specialized CTE courses designed particularly for those kids who wish to go the CTE route. We've partnered and continue to partner with Brunswick Community College in students who leave us and want to go to BCC for technical training to come out of that institution ready to work and be successful.
Good, good. What would you say is our greatest need, or our greatest need here in our school system?
Well, there's
most
several.
pressing need.
There are several. Of course, facilities, and with our bond, many of those issues with our facilities will be addressed by the bond, and that will include technology, our infrastructure, making sure that we are able to accommodate our ever-growing technological advances within the school system. Sports facilities, we have field houses that are going up. We're having some renovations made to buildings all across our district in each of our schools, and but we also have some of the pressing needs is to continue to enhance our safety features within our school. I'm not one to just sit back on my laurels because we have a school resource officer in every school. There are more safety issues that we want to make sure that we cover in the event, unfortunate event, that something were to take place. We have cameras in our schools. We have many of our doors, most all of our doors at the front door are buzz-in doors, where someone in the front office has to actually visually see you and then let you in. So we're making sure that's a need that we take care of.
And understanding that students are students, we've been very fortunate in recent years in terms of the safety of our schools.
That is correct. We have actually, we try to prepare for any situation that we can. We have constant lockdown drills, in addition to our regular tornado and hurricane drills, those types of things that we do on a regular basis, and fire drills. But we do those lockdown drills. We want to make sure that teachers and students are well aware of what to do in the event something were to take place. You can only be as prepared as the way you practice.
And in the broader scheme, let's remind our viewers that growth is a great challenge, but lack of growth or diminishing of the numbers of students would be an even greater challenge.
It would be. It's a good problem to have.
Exactly.
It is a good problem to
Yeah.
have. That just speaks to the gem that is Brunswick County, and I've said that before. Being in the county as a resident since 2011, I've been able to see just how good we have it here in Brunswick County.
We're very fortunate.
We are very fortunate. I think folks who may have lived here a long time may not really understand exactly what a jewel Brunswick County is.
It
But
is a
coming in 2011 and then working here just 4 short years ago, I really get to see firsthand the folks that are here that makes Brunswick County what it is.
And you just reminded me of this with our population here, especially our retirees. We have great community involvement.
We do. We have a program, it's called Best for Kids. And what that is we have a lot of volunteers that come in and read with our kids in our elementary schools. They go through our own curriculum training, Letterland, so when they come to them, they are able to assist them just like similar to a classroom.
Understanding that around the 3rd grade is when kids start to fall short, and that's where we want to catch them and boost them back up to grade level.
It is crucial at that age that we make sure that they are not falling between the cracks.
Right. I want to talk about how you address the needs of all students. Obviously, we have students who are far advanced. We have students in the middle of the pack, and we have students that are special needs students or students in need of special assessment. What's the magic to deal with all 3 of those at the same time in 19 schools with 12,000 students?
If there was a magic bullet, I may not be sitting here with you at this time.
That's right.
But
you see what I'm saying.
I do.
It's an enormous challenge.
It is a challenge, but what we try to do, we want to make sure that all students are growing.
Right.
That's the key. You have to have
from
the
wherever
growth.
they
Wherever
are
they
forward.
they have to grow.
Right.
If a student is at grade level, we want to push them a little further. If a student is below grade level, we want to at least get them to grade level, and we want to do that within the time that they come to us in August. By the time they leave at the end of May, we want to give them a good year of instruction for the time that they've sat in that seat. For those students who are high achievers, our academically gifted students, we want to make sure that we continue to push them as well. We don't want to stifle their progress. We want to make sure that we have given them the instructional materials and the instruction that will cause them to propel themselves forward.
We talked about community involvement, which really is great here in the county, but I didn't ask this question, so I'll ask it now. How do we get even greater community involvement here in the school system?
Well, I think that begins with our schools. In our individual schools, the schools have different needs. In most of our elementary schools, we have our parent facilitators, and what they do is they are the ones that are responsible for garnering that parental support to get more volunteers into the schools. Some schools have more involvement than others, but what we definitely strive to do is have as much as we can to assist our staffs with providing the most quality education that we can.
Right. Here's another thought that comes to me. Each county must be a little unique, and I know Brunswick County is. What makes Brunswick County school systems unique from others?
Well, one of the things is, first off, the size.
Sure.
Brunswick County is a very expansive district, and even though it's expansive, there's still a feeling of close-knit family all across the district.
It's true.
And another thing that makes us unique, I think, is the partnership that the school system has with the county government, whether it's the sheriff's office, whether it's the commissioners. We're in a good position, again, and I go back to conversations I have with other superintendents. We are second to none. It's nothing for us to be able to just sit down with a couple of commissioners or see a commissioner or talk to Sheriff Ingram and all come to the table for the benefit of the students. Most districts can't do that,
right?
And it's a good place to be when you are working as a unit.
That's a perfect segue to this question as we wrap up the interview. You have a great board.
We do,
and board members work on policies, and you work on executing the policies.
Day to day. Yes.
Talk about that just a second.
We have a board of 5 board members, and each of our board members brings something to the table that works to make our school system great. We have former educators, we have law enforcement, we have business owners, former business owners, current business owners, so they have a business sense. Having those types of characteristics on a board serves the school system well, because many people don't realize that although we are a school system, we are the largest employer in the county.
Good point.
We are truly a business as well.
Right.
Because each school system has a business side.
And the size of your budget? Help us out.
That budget is around $190 million.
Right.
So it is a business side to that.
Absolutely. Dr. Jerry Oates, thank you. I've enjoyed my time with you, and I know our viewers will really enjoy it as well.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks. Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's almost 17.
Well, when I became the AD, this was something that I had really wanted to start. Probably at that time I didn't really realize how much work that it was going to take. We really wanted to recognize our athletes that had been successful here, and then once you start recognizing athletes, you definitely wanted to recognize, the people that helped. It could have been supporters, principals, coaches, community members, because there are a lot of people that go into making your athletic programs, successful.
I was not expecting that. What I did for the children was a pleasure to me. I didn't think I ever, when I retired in '98, I would see, it was a blessing to see some of them right on to today that would say good things about how they fared at West Brunswick with the little things I slipped and give them extra bread, extra fries or whatnot. And that was a blessing to me right there. I not ever think about this.
Jimmy called me up on the phone and told me and congratulated me, and it's kind of a surreal moment. At my age, I have kind of a unique perspective on West Brunswick sports because the school started in the early '70s. And I was, I remember 6, 7, 8, 9 years old going to see them play. So I've pretty much seen everyone that's ever played from there through the '90s and the 2000s. And there have been some amazing players, and so it's quite an honor.
Our initial thought was to do 5 per year, but once we got to looking at the numerous nominations that we had, we knew that 5 would not work. So talking to some other people that had started it, they said, why don't you do a big class the first year and then kind of go from there. So that's kind of that was our idea, and so we decided to do it that way. When we kind of started thinking about this program, we needed financial help. And we reached out to some people, and ATMC was just fabulous with what they did, and their donation allowed us to start the event. I mean, without their help, the Hall of Fame would not be. So that was something that we're very appreciative, and we hope we can be partners for years to come.
Okay. We're here at the beautiful Lockwood Folly Country Club. My guest is Mrs. Myrna Robinson, She is the tournament director of the Women's Southern Golf Association, the 104th Amateur Golf Championship, and I understand there are 2 tournaments in one. The other one is
the Mid-Am Championship, and this is the 4th year for it.
and I'll bet you've been preparing for months and months for this big tournament.
Probably about 2 years.
No kidding.
No kidding.
All right.
We tried to get ahead of the schedule so that, you know, we don't have to work so hard. But we have been doing it for 100 years. So
Well, and it's a feather in Brunswick County's cap
yes.
to be having it here, right?
Yes.
I learned before we went on the air that there are 15 southern states in the District of Columbia,
Yes.
which comprise the area upon which you draw,
That's correct.
and you'll be having golfers from all those areas.
yes. Every state.
We want to give our viewers the dates, and I'll do this several times. As I understand it, June 3rd through 7th,
Yes.
and I'll try to get that date on the air again before we conclude.
Right. And the qualifying day is on the 3rd.
Okay, and it's right here at Lockwood Folly Country Club.
Yes.
Now, I've played here a couple of times, but how would you describe this course?
It's a course that you really have to think to play it because you don't always hit a big driver off the tee. You may have to lay up. Sometimes you'll play with just about every club in your bag.
Which is a challenge for these golfers.
Yes.
My recollection is that the fairways are narrow.
They're pretty narrow. They have taken some trees down that have overgrown, but it is narrow, yes.
And I'm sure the management here has been preparing for this tournament for quite some time.
Oh, yes, and they're doing a wonderful job.
I
They
bet.
really are.
Well,
And the Golf Pro, too, has been very active in what's going on.
as I drove in, the course looks just fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. This is all about golf, but it's also about scholarships.
Yes, we give a scholarship every year for $3,500, and it goes until they graduate, as long as they keep their grades up. And there is a deadline of May 1st to get those in this year. We only do the seniors. We don't go below that. So if you're a senior and want to play, want to qualify, if you go on the website, you will see how to go about that.
I'm sure it's competitive, but that's a very substantial scholarship.
Yes.
And the young women that receive that need not be golfers, but
No.
hopefully they are.
Yeah, hopefully they are.
I would hope so. I understand you have almost 100 golfers.
Yeah, 96.
We have a lot of facilities here in the county, but where do they stay?
Well, some are going to stay over at the beach. And then we do have housing here that the neighborhood has offered their houses for
Excellent.
people to come and stay. And it helps cut down on the cost.
Sure.
And we have several, we have one motel that they can stay in on 211. There are probably more in the area, but that's who we have a contract with.
I'm going to guess that you're a golfer.
Yes. Not very good.
I'm not sure about that or not. But so many of the top flight amateurs are very young women.
Yes. Like I say, last year our winner was 15 years old.
Come on.
15. In fact, I think when Lexi Thompson won, I think she was under 15.
Wow. Speaks pretty well for the future of golf, don't you think?
Yes, I do. I really do.
And of course, here in Brunswick County, we have 30 plus golf courses, so we love and know a lot about golf. Again, it's June 3rd to the 7th. It's the Southern Golf Association Amateur Golf Championship. It's here at Lockwood Folly Country Club. Any other interesting things that will be going on during that week?
During the week, yes, we do have a sponsor that's going to sponsor a dinner on Tuesday night.
And you have a keynote speaker.
And the keynote speaker is Virginia Derby Grimes, and she was last year's Curtis Cup champion.
Okay.
I mean, champion captain.
Okay.
And she has won this tournament before, and she has also been on the board of directors.
Now, we talked a little bit about the Curtis Cup, and you educated me a little bit. Tell our viewers what the Curtis Cup is.
The Curtis Cup is like the Walker Cup. It is strictly amateurs, and we play against England and Wales and Scotland. That's where they draw their team from.
It's U.S. versus Scotland and Wales and Britain.
Britain, yes.
And it's match play.
The UK, yes, it is.
I'm not sure if it's on TV or not, but it sounds great.
It usually is.
Okay, great.
It may be on the Golf Channel, or it's not nationally done.
Right. Ms. Robinson, in the couple of minutes we have to wrap this up, let's be sure and talk about the volunteers. You have a host of volunteers that really help make this work.
Yes, in fact, we couldn't do without them. And
Right.
Gail is the head volunteer for the club.
You're
And
talking about Gail Todd, aren't you?
Gail Todd.
And she's
yeah.
with us here today. Thank you,
Yes.
Ms. Todd.
And she's just done a fabulous job.
Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous.
You also have to have caddies and spotters and rules officials.
And rules
right?
officials. We have our own rules officials, which Pat McCamey is in charge of, and she's on the board of directors. And she has a committee. And also we have the different chairmen of registration and that sort of thing.
Well, it's a huge endeavor.
It's very big.
Let's remind our viewers again. Oh, and that the public is welcome.
They are welcome. They can come, hang around and watch and really enjoy themselves.
We're going to see some great golf.
Yes, very good golf.
Myrna Robinson, thank you for being with us. It's June 3rd through 7th.
Yes.
Right here at Lockwood Folly Country Club. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I applied for the grant because we needed access to Chromebooks more on a daily basis. We had 3 desktop computers in our classroom, and we have a roaming cart that we would get maybe once every 2 weeks. So the Chromebooks allow us to have at least maybe a 2-to-1 ratio where kids can use the digital resources that Brunswick County Schools provides for us. And there are actually quite a few digital resources, but we need the devices in order to access them. We have textbooks that are 25 years old. So it gives us access to the real world of science, which changes every day. And we are able to use the Chromebooks, and we're able to go to websites and experience things that our textbook hasn't even thought about. We're just so very thankful that ATMC supports education in our county. It means so much to the students and the teachers here that we have community support and that they are willing to donate things that we may not have access to for years. It may be 5 years before we're one-to-one. So I'm now almost one-to-one thanks to ATMC. And without community support, we would be behind. So they're keeping us level with other schools, other districts and other states because of community money from ATMC.
Thank you, ATMC!